Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. As you saw by the opening tonight, we have a very special episode on deck. I have with me tonight a very special guest, Scott Roeder. He's a crime scene reconstruction expert. I had him on the show before. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
And Scott, he was formerly of Ohio. Now he's in Florida. He operates the Evidence Room, and he also does the Crime Scene Time Machine podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. And you will find links in there in the description in tonight's episode. And because actually Scott's going to have his own analysis on this incredible news that we have to share tonight. Later on tonight, I believe your show is going to be premiering at 2 a.m. tonight. I don't know what time mine's going to be, sometime after midnight at some point today. And we both have two different shows on here. We're going to talk about some of the evidence that Scott has compiled over the last few days, over the weekend. He's been working really, really hard. And we now have evidence that we believe proves once and for all that there is an alien presence on Earth. And we are here to share it with you. We are very excited about this, as you could plainly see. I've been drinking coffee all day. I can't stop talking. I'm very excited. Scott's very excited. And he's dead tired from all the work he's done over the weekend. Is that right, Scott?
I am, man. I am. I'm pooped out. I almost regret taking on the project in a way because it's so all-consuming once you get into it and you realize, what it is that you've got at your fingertips. It freaked me out a little bit to see how it all came together. But once it started coming together, you can't, like I say, you can't stop now. I got to finish. I got to see it through to the end. And I feel like we saw it through to the end on this one. I feel real confident in the evidence that we put together. And I'm excited to share it with you and especially all your people that follow your show, which is one of my favorite shows out there on the thing. Matter of fact, your show is one of the shows that inspired me to put my show together.
Well, what happened here? Well, actually, last year there was a story, as we all know, it involved the Las Vegas alien story, involving the Kenmore family. It was Angel, his father Bobby, his brother Joshua, and his mother Contra. They had an incredible experience. Some people were calling it a hoax. And we're here to tell you tonight that it was not a hoax. It never was a hoax. And we have evidence tonight that we are going to share with you that shows that they were telling the truth, that there were probably 8 to 9 to 10 foot tall extraterrestrial creatures in their backyard during the early morning hours of May 1st, 2023. And we can prove it. And also there's additional evidence that Scott has will present tonight with regard to the object that fell from the sky. It seems that that's not a meteor. That's what the evidence looks like. Meteors, we'll get into that later on. Meteors leave a heat signature. This object did not, and we will talk about that as well later on. But anyway, before we get started, I just want to give everyone what happened here the last week was that I had posted an update on the Vegas alien story after watching a video by the popular YouTuber Sherman. And after I did that, I received an email from one of my followers, Julia June 96, and she alerted me to something that was going on in that video that was filmed by Contra Kenmore last year, that showed her husband and 2 sons trying to re-exit the backyard after running out of it because of alien beings being back there and some kind of a craft. And she pointed out something to me, and as I posted in the video from last week. And Scott, you saw it. I mean, obviously there was some sort of weird something going on where for a few milliseconds you see an alien head behind some kind of shadow, and then you checked it out over the weekend, and now you're able to show us that that there is indeed something going on there, and we have the proof. Scott has put the proof together with your assistant, who was you're going to talk about him as well. He
Yeah.
won't be on the show tonight. Luis.
Yeah, Luis Castillo. He's an employee of Evidence Room. I normally use him for homicide recreation, 3D forensic animation for death cases, car accidents, shooting cases, all kinds of things that we do as a normal course of our business in my expert capacity as a crime scene and reconstruction expert. I got to give a big shout out to your subscriber, Julia. What a great find to call our attention. Now, mind you, we did 2 shows on this video,
Yeah.
and I even went on another show because there was what I found to be a moving object in the background, and I was all excited about that. I thought that was incontrovertible evidence, but then that was met with a lot of 50-50. Some people said they saw it. Some people said, like, no, they couldn't really see it. But I really feel like it was more about the focus of your attention, right? But now with this new footage, are you got?
I'm showing the footage from last week on the
Yeah,
screen here.
so
There's
right
your
there,
alien that you identified last year.
that's right, and it
And here's the
moves
next alien.
dramatically from
Yeah.
right to left, and that's what I believe scared the father and Angel to get out of Dodge. But then pause it right there. Out of the blue, I never noticed it because my attention was focused in the middle, and then there's this thing right here to
And
the
you can
right
plainly
above the
see
fence.
it's a face. I mean, you
It's
can see the eyes. There's the 2 eyes, and
yeah,
it's right here. I mean, there's one eye here. Looks like there's one eye here for a few. It doesn't last long, and it looks like it's engulfed in the shadow, and then it disappears again, as we all know.
that's right. And I believe this is what the mother was reacting to when she says, "Oh, Poppy," and then moves the camera because the mother is standing about 5 feet behind the younger brother. So she can't really get a good visual picture of what's going on in the background where the father at the tip of the spear is reacting to, because you can see that's what Angel and the father are clearly reacting to. And then but the mother, she can't see that even though her camera can. But the mother at this time, right when we see that face up there, she goes, "Oh, Poppy." And then she moves her camera, and then they both go inside. And, there's a little bit more to the video after that where they're trying to see what's going on in the back of the yard, I think after they take a break. But that's what the mom is reacting to. And these are very real, legitimate, totality of the circumstance pieces of evidence that we can rely upon to call our attention to things. And your subscriber, Julia, brilliant call. I give her all the credit
Yes.
in the world because this happens in the crime scene world as well. I work on cases, for example, a suicide investigation or a homicide investigation where they thought it was a suicide. And when you see one piece of evidence that could be even hidden in plain sight, but when it's called to your attention, then it all falls together. And that's what happened in this case. After you, through Julia, brought my attention to what was going on above the fence, that's what we put 2 days worth of work into to identify what is it? Is it real? Is it an anomaly? Is it actually there? What's happening while it's there? And what else is going on behind the fence that we can use the video, the shadows, AI software, vector tracking software to determine what's behind the fence and what's behind this apparent intentional design to shield itself not only from the Kenmore family, but to shield itself from being caught on camera.
And you can see we're talking here. You can see even behind. Not only do you see the head appear here, but you see the shadow moving in behind the fence, and that was something that caught your eye too. When it was astonishing.
Yeah. To me, I applied the same principles that I would apply to any kind of a homicide investigation, right?
Yes.
And you have to look at the totality of the evidence. And you're going to have debunkers that'll be like, well, but the shadow, it could be this, that, or the other. No, it cannot. In my video that I'm premiering on my YouTube page, Crime Scene at Scott Roeder at YouTube, which will be premiering at 2 a.m. Tomorrow, and then I'll probably do another follow-up show, and you and I might do more on this. And I want to open this up. Everything that we've done, I'm opening it up for peer review. Okay. Anybody out there with a degree in photography, anybody out there who's a qualified expert witness in video analysis like I am, anybody out there with a master's degree or higher in education in video analysis, video editing, photography, film development, computer animation, and so on and so forth, bring it on. Look at what I've put on my YouTube channel. Look at what Jim and I are going to talk about today. And I'm willing to hear what professionals in my field have to say about this and open it up. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But I think that the evidence at this particular time with what we've seen here is proof. Couple things that these entities, both in the background and in the foreground behind the fence, are real. They're there. This is not fake. This is not a fraud. I guarantee it. 100%. These two items, these two beings are in the real world environment with the Kenmore family. That's a fact. It's an absolute fact. That is there, and the one in the background is there. 100%, beyond any reasonable doubt, these beings are there. Now, the question is, who are they? Where are they from, and what do they want? That's where the conversation goes after this presentation, Jim. The reality is confirmed. They're there. These people have experienced an extraterrestrial reality, interdimensional, whatever, whatever term you want to put on it. But these are non-human intelligent beings that are there in the real world. It's there. This is proof.
Well, I'm gonna share something. This is something that I thought was extremely astonishing, and this shows us. I guess it gives us an idea what kind of technology these beings have. And this is something, when I saw this little portion of this little snippet of video that you sent me, I was extremely surprised, and it's amazing. So I'm going to share this right now, Scott, and then we could talk about it. You can see there. Look, there's. It's coming up here. You isolate it. Here we go.
That's right. So it's paused there for a second. Actually, back it up for just a half a second before the second square comes up. If you can go back just right there. So right there, what we've identified, and you can even go back to where the square is directly in its original position over the fence to the, to the other side of the screen. So yeah, and I'll tell you when to pause it. Right when the square comes up, right there, pause it. So that square right there, what we've done is we've isolated a piece of the background, and inside of that yellow square is the tree branches that are above the fence. And then when we get to the other square, so bring that over, and that's off to the side. So we know that that's real. That's part of the environment. And now we've got the head that comes in with the smoke around it and the cloaking or whatever. And we've identified this same exact area that we identified before, same exact area, and then bring it up and compare it side by side and pause it there. This is not part of the background. This is an artifact that this being, and this is a hypothesis, through its technology, some kind of a lag in its cloaking device, in that because it's cloaking with whatever background it's in where it was before. And because this film that we're looking at here is only 0.8 of a second, there must have been some lag time between that cloaking technology transferring while it moves. So this, in this square here, does not belong to the background. This belongs directly to the shadow being that is projecting it from a different location. That's my hypothesis. But clearly it's an anomaly that doesn't belong there, and there is no earthly explanation for that to happen.
Well, could you explain? You were talking to me about missing pixels. I'm going to let this play while we talk about that.
Yeah,
because something else comes up here.
So we used AI software to analyze all this, and inside of that yellow square right there, that kind of a weird shape there, there are a number of pixels, and those pixels have been diminished by 66%. It's a weird number, but that's the number that we got when we did the computer software analysis. These pixels have been deleted by 2/3. And I have no explanation, because you could take a shadow. There's a shadow on Angel's younger brother's back that his mother is kind of projecting her shadow onto him. And we could take that area, and there's 100% pixels in those areas. This area right here has 2/3 of the pixels have been diminished. There's no explanation for that whatsoever, other than some sort of a force or technology or something that is interfering with the camera's ability to capture the image. And it's basic photographic videography technology. A pixel is a pixel, right? That's how you get resolution. So if your camera is 600 by 800, that means you have 600 pixels by 800 pixels, right? That's just how much you have to work with. It's if you have a tile floor and you've got a 10-foot floor by a 20-foot floor, and you have 1-foot tiles on your floor. It's the same thing with a pixel on a camera, based on how big your camera screen is and how many pixels it's capturing per video. This section here is missing 2/3 of the pixels that should be there, and there's no explanation for that to be there. It's not. There's no explanation for it that
well, it's an impossibility. Basically, there's a technology at what you're basically saying is there's a technology at play here that's beyond our understanding.
That's correct. Yes, I've been doing this work. I'm 53 years old. I started my company, Evidence Room, in 2001. I've been working in the field since 1994. So that's 30 years I've been in this business. I don't know of any technology that can eliminate pixels on a camera in just 0.8 of a second. And for it to be coincidentally, there are no coincidences, by the way, over 2 eyes and a head that happens to be 8 to 10 feet tall, just like these kids demonstrated consistently in all of their statements, in their 911 call, and so on and so forth. The fact that this is there and that their statements are so credible, and not only their statements, but the police officer's statements, the body camera footage, the dozens of 911 calls, this is legitimate, 100% based on the totality of the evidence. I mean, just say it the way it is. This is a crashed spaceship that somehow landed near their yard. They were hiding. This family investigated it with their weapons, got scared away, possibly, like you hypothesized before, for them to make repairs and get out of Dodge before the rest of the people came with the rest of the guns. And, then you're a science experiment underneath the desert in Nevada, right? So get out of there.
Okay, now I want to go to another video that you have. It was with, and this was with Louise, and I'm gonna pull that one up here in a second. Here, just give me a minute, or a second, hopefully, maybe not a minute, but yeah, there's more evidence here.
Well, I'll give you background on Louise. Louise Castillo has been working for Evidence Room, doing forensic computer animation and analysis for the last several years. He has a doctorate degree in computer animation. So he is as qualified as it comes with regard to analyzing video, special effects, creating animation, and so on. And you're going to hear from his own words right here why. And this isn't me. Like I said, this is up for peer review. Why this is real. And I'll let you play the video if you're playing the part with his audio.
There's some audio here. Yeah. What kicks in? This was, I think, your.
Now, based on what we've seen in the video, this character now is sized to scale and has been put into the video as an artifact. Now, before, we're going to get a lot of debunkers out there saying, well, how do we know that the original video doesn't have a foreign artifact in it? So my question to you as an expert, in the field of computer animation, video editing, video analysis. What have you been able to determine with regard to the original video and whether or not this thing that we see here, this entity? So my question to you is, how can we be so sure that the original video does not have any artifacts in it adding in these beings?
The key point to notice this it's the lighting, like I said before in a previous meeting. So you can be sure that there is something in the video, because normally when we do digital compositing, there is a way or path that normally you can see in the pixels, because as you know, at the moment to add other elements, make some overlays at the moment to create the compositing, you can see the different in the pixelization and the pixels. But this video has not been altered in any way. It's a original source. It's a original video. After a review several times and use a special software to track all this motion, vector motion, I noticed that the shadow that you can see over the fence in reality it's in the video. It's not been placed for an artist or any special guy that do special effects or stuff like that. As you can see in my screen, you can see this
right. Yeah, those are our tracking
points.
Tracking points of all things moving in the environment.
Exactly.
I see. So this is how the light is refracting off of the object that's moving. Is that correct?
Right. That's correct. So the key point here is try to understand that the shadow of the head of this entity, it's in reality in the video. At the moment you use special software to track the motion of the vector, like I said before, after make some stabilization of the video, and then make a technique used in special effect named match move. I noticed that in reality the motion, the vector motion and the shadow follow perfectly without any error, because when you mix several layers in compositing using digital compositing software, there is always a kind of a little range of error in the motion of the pixels, but this matches perfectly. So I can tell you that this entity, this the film, this artifact or whatever, at the moment is there. It's into the frame. It's into the scene. In reality, it's there. It's not coming from any other source.
Very important point to make, and I thank you for that, because I was talking with some other folks in the field of ufology, and of course they're not scientists. The people that I was talking to they're journalists and so on, and people are very and also spoke to a Harvard professor, Avi Loeb, who is an astrophysicist. Although his area of expertise is not video analysis like ours and particularly yours are in this particular matter, and they always kind of say something of, well, we can't trust anything on video unless they personally capture it. And I think that what we're able to demonstrate is that's not true. You can analyze a video that you are not the original capture of, or you were not the photographer, you were not the videographer, or you don't even have the original phone. We can take a video and look at whether or not there is an artificial artifact added to it or not. And in this case, we can definitively say to a degree of scientific certainty that this entity, this thing in the video, is there in the physical reality in which the Kenmore family is also there. Would you agree with that statement?
Definitely, definitely. It's true. It's there.
There you go. There you go. Well, it's there. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I guarantee it. It is there. And you know, I wanted to be careful, but before I came on a show like this, I mean, obviously you have a lot of people that follow you and listen to your show, and I want to be sure before I make a statement that I can't take back. And I'm, listen, we postponed this meeting a day and then several hours. So I'm like, I want more work to do. I want to be sure. I want to be sure. And I just can't think of any other way to debunk it. I tried to find fault. I tried to find any error rate, anything odd that was deliberately done to the video that could affect its authenticity. There is nothing. Matter of fact, the more you look at this case, the more the evidence starts piling up of consistencies. The number of 911 calls, the video footage of the alleged meteor, the police officer's reaction to it. They felt this entity or the residue when they were there. The police officers clearly say they're scared. You're on your own. Call somebody else. We're not dealing with this. And these are hardened police officers with weapons and guns and backup and everything. They don't want any part of it. They didn't want any part of it. These kids were terrified. They didn't want any part of the media. They didn't want any money. They didn't want to do anything. There's no ulterior motives. To me, this case is right out, should go down in the history books as a verified anomalous event by credible people with nothing to gain. And I have nothing to gain either. You have nothing to. This is just, listen, if this was a bad case, I'd say it's a bad case. Yeah. Like you and I disagree on other cases where you think something's not, I'm like, I think there might be something there. And you and I disagree. But we don't do shows about that. We do shows where we can all come together and say, we got one.
Just to remind people, I just want to play Angel's 911 calls.
A full person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
100% not human, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. Like I said, I believe that this is the end-all evidence that we've been waiting for. I think that everybody in the UFO community should be very happy today. I think this is Vindication Day for everyone, because now we could prove we have the evidence that shows that there is something here, something among us. We don't know what they're up to. Who knows? We could worry about that another day. I mean, obviously, if they were going to do something, they would have done it a long time ago. I don't think we really have much to worry about. But sometimes you run into these things, and it's just a fact of life. I think we could say that with definitive proof now to back it all up. And there was some more of your presentation, Scott, I want to talk about too. It was with regard to the segment where there was some computer animation that you created that I thought was very interesting. I'd like to share that section if you don't mind while I set it up here. And that must have taken some time, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, we put some time and effort into this thing because, like I said, my goal was one, to verify that the video is not tampered with, which we were able to do, to verify what is going on inside of the video. And I think that we were able to do that, verify movement, lighting, and then track it, and then try to put a character together that fits not only what Angel's description of what he said he saw, but also fits the dimensions, the movement inside of the video itself. And so based on, not, this is not a guess, based on the totality of the evidence, we put together a character animation that we overlaid on top of the video and then play it side by side with the unedited video so that you can see what the evidence clearly suggests is going on under the shadows.
Well, after analyze the motion of the shadow, do you see this lines, this color, the squares on the screen?
Yes.
This was the first element to capture the motion, and you see it matches perfectly the motion of the shadow behind.
Yes, it does.
See this little square here. It represents the motion of the foot, the leg.
That is so convincing to me. The motion of the leg, and keep going like this is so critical because you can clearly see through the slots in the fence that there is a leg motion moving from the right to the left side of the screen. And clearly it is behind there. So this isn't just like a head floating in space. This is a head of that is somehow that does not have full opacity. I think you previously determined that the opacity of the head of the shadow is only at about 33% opacity versus a normal shadow, which would be at 100% opacity, or an object in the screen, which is at 100%. And this isn't anything that you did. It's just what you were able to determine, that this shadow being, or this being in the shadows, possibly creating its own shadow or smoky filter or cloaking technique, is not only cloaking itself from the people there, but cloaking itself from the camera itself, in that it's minimizing our ability to identify pixels inside of that shadow.
Exactly.
Angel said in one of his interviews that he was 8 to 10 feet tall, which is what we have here, skinny body, big eyes, and it looked like his leg was crooked or broken. So you've added here kind of a insect style leg feature, so that we could still get the normal motion of a walk gait, but have an additional reverse oriented appendage joint to reflect the possible perception of a human with some sort of ontological shock, seeing this being totally surprised, shocked, frozen, possibly from some sort of a just the shock of seeing a creature like this would freeze you, would scare you. And when he said he had a crooked leg or a broken leg, I think you've really captured that to a degree of accuracy, and with something that works in the world of not human, but the world of biology. We know that there's insects that have this kind of leg configuration. It works on the 3D model. And I think we've got the size, the scale, the density of the being correct. So I'm really pleased with this.
Wow. So that was interesting to see. I mean, you actually captured what this thing was, what it was like moving behind the fence.
Yeah,
that animation.
and I think that that's accurate. Based on the shadow that we can see through the slots in the fence, and the height, and all of the other descriptions, and the way it comes in. I mean, you use the term "it flies in," which doesn't fly in; it walks in. It walks into the screen, and I think that maybe the younger brother reacted to it a little bit, but I don't think the father or Angel knew that it was right there. I think the mom and maybe the younger brother sensed it, and that's when they retreated. And we can hypothesize as to what the alien or what this being was doing or what their intent was, being that close to the family. But I think that you were right in your hypothesis that you did the other day. I thought it was a pretty wise assessment. Uh, they showed no hostility, no anger. Clearly, if they were if they were in that craft that came down like a meteor, but was not a meteor because it had no heat signature, and they were accidental visitors, maybe this one by the fence was just trying to create some space so the other guy could fix the ship and they can get out of Dodge. I think
Well,
that's a
there
fair.
might have been other ones there too. I mean, they
Maybe.
only saw two of them. There could have been some working on the ship, and those two could have been out there, making sure that they're not going to get attacked. They're scared. They're trying to scare the people away.
Yeah, give
I
me a
mean, it could have been
perimeter.
something to that effect.
Give me a perimeter while I mean, you look at any basic military tactic or scientific tactic. If you're in the sea like Avi Loeb and you fall in, you're going to go down, and well, you're going to be in a shark cage, right? Because you don't want to get eaten by a shark. We are the ocean to these guys. We might be they're probably more scared of us than we are of them, because if you look at the human race, we're a bunch of murdering bastards.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
I like
if
this.
I'm from another universe, I think the real threat is humanity. I don't think the aliens are a threat. I think we're the threat.
Well, I know. I guess one of the debates we're going to have after this, after we talk, people are going to talk about this afterward, of course. But I guess we're going to be wondering. I guess the big question is next: are these tall grays? That's a lot of people are saying tall grays, but every description I've ever had of a gray was like a small little mouth.
Yeah.
According to the family, these mouths were big, so you have to wonder. And then the way the legs are bent, are they more insectoid? Are they the praying mantis aliens, perhaps that were walking around there, traipsing around? Maybe
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is more along the lines of an ant or or an insect or a mantis. But if you look at the historical accounts, the mantids or the bigger ones, they're usually with the small grays. So there could be a small gray out there in the background, and then this guy is the mantid, who's just trying to create some room, and we don't know. I mean, it's all hypothesis. But imagine for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, that they are aggressive. That might be the biggest blessing humanity has ever seen. Because with the state of humanity murdering each other, committing genocide against each other, and nobody seems to care, maybe we do need a threat from off this world to unite humanity under a single purpose for our own survival. Or the other alternative is, maybe these aliens or these beings, if they're not hostile, maybe they can teach us something about becoming more conscious. But either way, I think the only way forward is through peace, non-proliferation of warfare. And I think before there's any legitimate disclosure by an advanced, intelligent being that's not human, not of Earth or not of our dimension or whatever, I think as a race of people, we need to demonstrate that we can be peaceful and civil and loving and not murdering bastards. Like if you look at the news, if I was I wouldn't want to be our buddy. I mean, that's like trying to bring in a rabid raccoon from the forest and think he's going to be your pet golden retriever. Not going to happen.
Well, in addition, if that's not enough, okay, we have the evidence here. I believe that the evidence that has been presented here tonight clearly shows that we are not alone. That's the story here today. We are not alone. We'll see what happens with the mainstream news if they'll ever look at this. This video evidence, by the way, like we talked about earlier, it's been out there. It's in the public domain. It's been in the public domain since last June. It's time for the world to come on, snap out of it. Come on, wake up. It's real. It's not a joke anymore. I mean, what are these debunkers going to say now? Yeah, by the way, I want to let them know just one thing. I'm not going to even talk. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about the debunkers anymore. I'm done. I mean, I think we're showing them. I told them before we had a royal flush, and we're showing them a royal flush tonight. And now they lost. They had 8 high, like I thought all the time.
Yeah.
So that's over with. So goodbye. I'm not even going to entertain them anymore. I'm done. I'm done with
Yeah.
the debunkers. Good night and farewell. Goodbye. Or come on in and start
See
joining.
ya.
Let's start investigating this together, one or the other. Either that,
Yeah.
because I'm done. Well, I don't think. I'll just say this much. I think that some of them are gonna, after this. Some of them will, open their eyes and see
they
the light.
won't.
I think some of them might.
No.
I think you'd be a fool not to. I mean, this is
But they are fools, Jim.
This is scientific evidence that we're presenting tonight.
But they are fools. That's the point. You can't make a fool not be a fool. They are fools. They are paid fools. You're operating under the assumption that they're being authentic in their belief that it's not a real thing.
Oh, I know that they're not. I know that they're disingenuous.
They're not authentic.
I know
They
that.
know
Yeah,
it's
but I mean,
real.
it'd be a fool to continue this charade at this point, right? I mean, when we're showing you the evidence right now, and it's over. They're done. It's an end. We reached end, or today actually. April 2nd, Vindication Day for everybody, right? We've reached. It's like goodbye now. It was nice knowing you. I don't even care what they say anymore because we have the evidence and they got nothing. But I just want to say one other thing here. It's not just that we have the evidence of the alien in the backyard now. It's not just that we have that. In fact, there were 2 aliens. We didn't even talk about the other one that we discovered last year. But now we have proof. I think what proves this is the fact that they're using technology to block out pixels on your cell phone. They have this ability. So that, I mean, they basically gave themselves away via their technology. But that's not the only evidence that we got going here. And there's some more evidence I want to present that with regard to the quote meteor, end quote. Right. Which, by the way, I believe a lot of scientists were saying, yeah, that's a meteor last year. You're telling me now that it doesn't look like that's the case. And I'll play a video here, and we can see what you said here in this. Yeah,
let's play. Go ahead and play the clip. I'll set it up until I start hearing the voice on it. But so we identified.
As we wait
I'll let me do the talking for me.
Lewis to get back to us with a more augmented version of what's going on behind that fence, let's look at a compilation of the meteor, allegedly, that crashed in the backyard that night. So this is a compilation of all of the footage with regard to evidence of the meteor. So we've got official dash cam footage from the Las Vegas Police Department. We have several ring cameras. We can see, what people are saying is a fireball. But let's take a look. See, I've seen shooting stars, and that looks way too big. So now we've got exact time and location. This is infrared. So this is infrared. So it looks green on infrared. And now optical without heat signature. So this is not showing heat. If that was a meteor, it would have a massive heat signature because it's a fireball, right?
It's 21 hours.
But there's no heat signature. So now we've got a long wave infrared. And now there's no meteor. So there's no heat signature, but we see the airplane. But now we don't see the airplane, but yet
we see 7 hours.
But we see the meteor. Very interesting. Now this is verified footage. We see another view from a ring camera or a security camera. We've got that address. We've been able to identify where those houses are.
It lines up perfectly with Angel's backyard.
So it looks like it is coming right into Angel's backyard. Very interesting stuff. I think the most compelling is that there's no heat signature on the meteor.
Right, because we all know that a rock, which is what a meteor is, will burn up in the atmosphere, and that's what you get. You get an explosion, and then the other part is the audio. I did an example. I got audio and video of several major meteors that were documented on video that have also have audio, and none of those meteors have a sound as it comes in, because as it comes in, it burns up in our atmosphere, which is so far up in the sky, however many thousands of feet, that you can't hear it. But yet on this one, on two of the cameras that actually are running video and audio at the same time that have been synced up, there is audio related to this thing coming into our atmosphere and into the ground.
Yeah, I do have that. If we
yeah.
continue with the video, that does pop up. But before we do continue with it, we will do that. I want to go revisit it. I just want to point out about meteors. You're talking about, they heat up pretty hot. I mean, from what I understand, it's 1,800 degrees. Well, actually, the rock itself, they'll land cold, but what causes this, the air friction that heats it up, gets up to 1,800 degrees Celsius, or over 3,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Right. So that's what causes the light when you see it falling, right? It's just burning up because of the air friction. But then the meteor hits the ground and it's cold. However, like you pointed out, there's no heat signature on this, right? So obviously something else is going on, apparently. So I guess this could be considered additional corroboration to go along with the extraterrestrial that we have now proven to be in the backyard, and that we have proved, that you have proven for sure. You and Luis have proven now that that there was something there, and that the people were telling the truth the whole time. So yeah,
absolutely. And so I think if you look at, and that's the thing, as an evidence expert, you have to look at the totality of the circumstances, right? And
right.
the totality of the circumstances here, that we have a meteor that has no heat signature. We have dozens of people that immediately say this is weird, and they call 911. And then we get the 911 call of triangulating where this meteor allegedly landing in this kid's backyard, and then we have his 911 call, and then the video to confirm two beings there. I don't know, how much more proof do you need?
I think I don't think you really do. I think because you have it now. Like I said, we're not calling it Vindication Day for nothing.
That's right. That's right.
So and you do explain, you do have as this video continues, there's a point where you do get into the sound that's heard. There's like a very faint, but you can hear it. There's
Almost
some kind of weird
mechanical
sound as it comes down. I think it might have been malfunctioning. And here you were showing about heat signatures, like on different things.
Right, yeah. So like here, like to the right of the screen here, you've got an infrared camera on a telephone pole, right? So you can clearly see at the top of the telephone pole, because it's emanating electricity, it's hot, it's red, it's hot. And then as we move through it, we even take a drone footage of a solar panel. And the solar panel, because it's hot, it's getting the sun in, it looks like fire, right? If this was really a meteor burning up in our atmosphere, the infrared would show it as a flame coming through the sky. We don't see that here. And also, we hear a noise that sounds strangely mechanical. So, I could see, well, but how could it be mechanical without it having a heat signature? But people are going to go to the typical physics question of, well, but this and that. Well, they're obviously using a different kind of propulsion that doesn't combust things and stuff, right? That's why there's no heat signature, you would think, because advanced technology, most certainly, they're not using gasoline or rockets anymore, right?
Right. So I guess the other thing. So basically, what we're looking at here is an object coming down from the sky that has no heat signature. It's obviously cold. I think what we're looking at here is it's what you call a malfunctioning craft. That's what apparently has happened here. They crack. They basically make an emergency landing in the backyard. The aliens are trying to repair this thing, get out of there. Meanwhile, the other two aliens are big ones, tall ones, are running around trying to scare those people away from them. And hey, we're not here to hurt you. There's one other thing before we do end this, I want to bring up is also the strange writing in the backyard. That was something that was brought up in that Sherman video. And I don't know. I just thought that maybe a kid might have snuck in and did that, but they're saying it's not chalk. It's something else. Maybe there's something to that too.
You have a video of that so I can take a look at that? I don't think
no, I don't have it lined up, but wait, I think we do have this. This might be the part where you start getting into the sound. So I'll just let this play a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So now here's one clip all by itself.
I don't know.
So clearly there's background audio on those two clips that match this object coming in. And now on the third clip with the dash cam, because the car's so loud you can't hear anything, but that is a third verified clip. Clearly it's the same angle, it's the same area. This has been verified. And then the fourth clip we have is from a self-driving car on a video that also has no audio, but clearly we've got the object coming in. So I think we've isolated the object, we've isolated the audio. There is a sound with this thing as it comes through the air. And then we obviously have the Kenmore's video about what they saw in their backyard in collaboration with this alleged meteor. And we've slowed it down to 10%.
Yeah, so you did hear the sound. I think you do bring it on again here.
And used a tracking software to track its movement. And I think the interesting thing here is that the self-driving car camera has the best, most unobstructed view. And I never see an explosion of the meteor like I've seen in other meteors. And I'll get some other footage of meteors so that we can see how a meteor explodes when it gets into the atmosphere and burns up. But this has no heat signature, and we're going to put the infrared on the next one, and let's take a look. Here's the Vegas meteor with an X-ray filter, with a duotone filter, and then with a negative image filter. Now back to the ring camera and the body camera.
That was the sound. There was a sound.
Yeah, that was the sound.
So
doesn't sound like a meteor to me. Now, you can get any, listen, the evidence is overwhelming with the meteor spacecraft. And I think we could even do more research on this. I ran out of time. I think that there is a rate change in the descent. Now, if this was an atmospheric meteor, you would expect a particular speed to be consistent, if not speeding up as it gets closer. But this, it almost starts stationary, and then it gets real fast, and then it slows down very low to the ground, almost like they're trying to decelerate before impact. So I think there's some deliberate movement, some purposeful movement, or some purposeful deceleration to this object, this craft. So, but we can do that analysis. I just ran out of time for today, but I think that might be the next thing. And if anybody out there wants to, do the same thing we did, listen, we use off the shelf AI video tracking software as recommended by Harvard forensic computer science division to do our tracking, not only on the meteor, alleged meteor, but on the, let's just call it what it is, on the spacecraft, and use the vector tracking software, AI powered, on the tracking of the shadows for the being behind the fence. So, the science is there. It's clear. These are real things. They're in the video. And I challenge my peers to review it. And if you listen, if you work for a magazine or, you don't have any expertise in photography, videography, you're not an expert. I don't care what you have to say. That's fine. You can have your opinion, but don't share it because it doesn't matter. Okay. But if you have expertise in the field and you want to challenge the science of what we brought up, bring it on.
It's a done deal, everyone. Everyone who ever had an encounter with extraterrestrials, anyone who ever said they saw a UFO and then nobody believed them, anybody who ever said they were abducted by aliens and they didn't believe you, guess what? You've reached Vindication Day. We have the evidence here now. Scott Roeder, thank you very much for proving it to the world, and thank you for having your employee Luis helping you with this. It's an incredible moment. When I saw the stuff over the weekend, I couldn't sleep when you first started telling me about this, and you contacted me on Friday, and you start playing Rocky music when I picked the phone up, and I was like, "What's going on? Something must be going on." And you're like,
well, I knew you'd be excited about it, and I'm excited about it too. Frankly, I was a little bit scared by some of this stuff too, because we just have to come to the reality that we're not possibly the smartest guy on the block, right? Now, I said I interviewed Avi Loeb on my podcast, Crime Scene Time Machine. He was my very last interview that I did. I did like a 90-minute interview with Avi Loeb, and I like him. He's a great guy. Very smart, very gracious with his time. We had real good rapport. We had a lot of fun stuff. But I asked him a question about the reality of, I think the question was, if we're not the smartest guy in the universe on our cosmic block, but maybe we're the meanest, that might not work out for us. So, and I know we're talking about proof of aliens and all that, but I have to come to the single point. My big takeaway in all of this is we need to be peaceful, loving members of the human race. We need to take care of our environment. And I'm not talking about all the crazy people. I'm not talking about global. Take care of our animals, take care of our plants, grow our own food. All right. We need to be human beings. Get off of social media. Quit messing with all the drugs and the alcohol. People need to get back to basics and be regular people, be loving people. Nothing else matters. And anybody's going to come in, they're like, oh, he's a hippie, he does this and that, blah, blah, blah. I don't care what they think or what they say. It matters null to me. And they can go pound salt if they're not on board with being a good human being. Because it could be this, and I asked Avi Loeb this too. He said it could be an intelligence test. And I said, Avi, I think maybe it's a personality test. Because there's a lot of smart people out there. But are those smart people good people? And you got to ask yourself out there, everybody's got to ask themselves this. Are you the best version of yourself that you can be? Are you a good representative of the human race? If you were an intelligent being from another galaxy or another planet, would you want to be our friend? Or would you stay away from us because we're a bunch of murderers who are jealous and we just want more food, more this, more that, more money, more this, all this garbage that doesn't mean anything, right? So that's my challenge to people out there. Believe it if you want to believe it. The evidence is there. I think we've proven a point.
We've proven it. You proved it. It's over. Actually, this was a grassroots effort. It took the government has been lying. Sean Kirkpatrick, I feel bad for him. I actually feel bad for him because he looks really terrible.
This is what they should have done at that hearing.
This was a grassroots effort. You saw. I mean, this was like a snowball effect. Sherman I never even heard of his channel. So one of my followers sent me his video, and a thing. I went and looked at it. I did an update on it, and then I get a message from Julia Joan. I look at that. I'm flabbergasted. I do a video about that. You see that, and then you go to work, and here we are now, and the evidence is there, and it looks like, and you know what? Even if they did find a heat signature, if somebody find, it doesn't matter. We have the evidence in the backyard. It's there. There's an alien being there. Those people aren't liars. They're religious people who believe in God, and they wouldn't do something like that. You could hear them talking. They're on interviews before, and it's over. And I'm going to say this too: is there's a lot of people out there who nobody believed them before, but guess what? This is Vindication Day, because now we have the evidence, and you can always point to this and say, "Look, it's over. I was right, and you didn't believe me." One of the worst feelings in the world, I'll never forget it, when I was a kid and I told my mom the next day what happened when that thing was in the room. And it came to a point where I realized she wasn't going to believe me, right? And I remember that was the most memorable moment of the next day. I stood there and I realized, oh my God, nobody's going to believe me. I'm just a kid, and nobody's going to believe me. And I know what that feels like. And I know there's millions of other people in this world who knew what that felt like before, knows that feeling. And it's a terrible feeling when you know something happened, but you can't prove it. Well, now guess what? The Kenmore family provided us this information, and they have just proved to the world. They proved to the world with their evidence. And now with this grassroots effort, now you see it's absolute end game. It's over. It's proof positive. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
I agree with you. This is what's called crowdsourcing, right? Open crowdsourcing. You and I both come from different worlds, different backgrounds. There's no reason for us to be talking with each other except for some synchronicity, some entanglement at a distance, to quote some of those people out there that are into that stuff. And even though we disagree on other things, right? Like I don't care what the government says, Arrow, those people, I think they're all just CIA assets to me. I think they're all liars. And I'm never going to wait for the government to tell me what's real and what's not real. And neither should anybody else. We can determine what's real and what's not real. We are the ones that determine our own reality. And if they don't want to participate with the rules that we're going to set forward, with the people's rules, we've set up a system now where we can now take in credible UFO accounts on video, and we can apply the same standard to all of them. So this is my challenge to everybody out there in ET Reality and everybody out there at Crime Scene Time Machine. If you have a video that you've taken of a UFO in the sky, of a being in the shadows, or whatever the case might be, an orb, an encounter, an abduction, anything, send it to me, send it to Jim, and we'll put it through the same rigorous scientific process and try to determine what's going on so that we can finally figure out how these things really happen and take away the stigma, and most importantly, filter through the barrage of intentionally bogus videos that the government, the CIA particularly, puts out there amongst the real stuff so that you can't know what's what. And that's their strategy ever since. And I won't get into the assassination of John F. Kennedy because I've done probably 12 episodes on the assassination of John F. Kennedy on my channel. Okay. And the assassination of our last democratically elected president of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, that's the day the music died. That's the day America died. And until we resolve that issue, and it's very good reason to believe that he was killed because of UFO disclosure, their government will never tell the truth about this issue, because the original sin of our government is the killing of our own president, John F. Kennedy, which is directly related to UFO secrecy. And I'm sorry, Jim, I didn't mean to pirate it with that issue, but there is an entanglement with the John F. Kennedy being killed and the UFO disclosure, and there's a mountain of evidence to support it.
Well, hey, you're the one who was. You can say whatever you want. You're the one. You put this this evidence together. You show what's going on. You can say whatever you want now, and could take it or leave it, but they're not going to be able to leave what we just presented tonight.
No,
And
I
that's
mean,
the bottom line is that the extraterrestrial, there is some presence here, whether it's extraterrestrial, non-human. I think they're coming from other planets, but hey, I could be wrong. I call it extraterrestrial reality, and if I get proven wrong in the future, I'll change the name to non-human intelligence reality or something like that. I don't care. I just want people to know that there is a presence here among us, and that's the bottom line today is that we've reached Vindication Day. That's what it is.
Jim, you've been right all along, and you should feel vindicated because of what you've gone through and the fights that you had growing up. You should feel vindicated because you've been right all along. That's why I get drawn to people like you, because I can tell you're authentic. And everything you do on your show, you're an authentic guy. This is who you are in real life. And that's why people watch your show, and that's why people like you, and that's why people trust you. And that's why I like you. That's why I trust you. And I'm happy to partner up with you on this thing. And listen, you guys might all not agree with me about Kennedy and this and that, and that's fine. Just look at the evidence that we did here today, and come up with you can make up your own mind. I'm not here to force it down anybody's throat, but I'm here to say Jim was right. We are.
Everybody in the UFO community who has been right about this. I mean, we've been kicking the door for a long time, and finally it fell down.
Thanks to just everyday regular people like Julia, who's a subscriber to your show, which I highly recommend everybody to go subscribe to. Of course they are, because they're already watching it. But it's a great show, and it inspires curiosity and creativity. And and that's what we should all aspire to do, and not get bogged down by these nerds that are saying, no, it's not real. Because if it's real, then guess what? They're not so important anymore, right? And I think that's what it comes down to. People's ego. I don't get any ego thrill out of being right on this issue, Jim.
I don't even care anymore. Like I'm done now. It's over. Like it's like, see, it's about the injustice that's been going on a long time, where people are getting made fools out of, and they get laughed at. People in the media laughing at people all the time when they have incredible experiences, and it's just an awful feeling to see that, when in your mind you're seeing these people laugh at this and call people crackpots and stuff like that, and that they're wrong, and yet they're getting away with this, and it's not right. But now that's all over now. They're the ones who are going to look like the crackpots, like I've been saying. That's who are the crackpots, the ones who aren't going to accept this reality. They're the crackpots. So it's time to we're over the red line now. We're beyond the red line. Everybody should be very happy. Vindication Day has arrived, and I guess the discussion should be changing. It's going to turn into something else. I don't know what, but we can start from here on and go forward.
Well, I propose to all your fans out there, everybody out there that's listening to this, send us your videos. Send them
to everybody. Send them. There's a lot of UFO researchers out there. Do it yourself. People have their own podcasts. Yeah. Talk yourself. This is nothing to be ashamed of now. There it is. You have the proof. There's something here. There's nothing to be afraid of. The stigma should be wiped clean tomorrow. Don't worry about what any dumbbell tells you. If they don't believe it, that's their problem. You know that you're right now, and you have the evidence to back it up. Thanks to Scott Roeder and his team. And thank you very much. Now it's a done deal. I'm very excited.
Well, I'm happy I could play a small role in it. And if it wasn't for you, Jim, I wouldn't even have taken on this project. But tomorrow morning I'm flying to Parts Unknown for run-of-the-mill terrestrial man-on-man murder case. And, so when I get to work on these things, I love it, because to me, this is a lighter subject. Because on a day-to-day, I'm dealing with this guy being accused of killing this guy because of some whatever the situation is, right? And in the bigger scope, that's why I talk about, I end my show, I love you, planet Earth, right? I love the people on it, because that's what we need, man. We got to be more loving. And I call these people nerds and idiots and losers and whatnot. But, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. So don't get your egos too bruised up and get all riled up over nothing if you disagree with us. If you disagree with us, prove me wrong. That's all. Prove me wrong.
I want to say, I also want to have a shout out to my friends Rob Heatherly and Shannon Scott. They were there for me today. I was bouncing a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas off them today leading up to this. And I know that they're very excited. They can't wait to see this show. I've been talking about it with them over the weekend. They're of Military Witnesses, the UAP. Check out their channel. They're two great guys. And I want to say thank you very much to those guys. And thank you for all the. I want to say thank you to all the fans too, to all the people that will come here. I mean, I don't have that big of a channel, but I want to say, you know, there's a lot of nice comments I received on a regular basis. I want to say thank you very much for all of that.
And this one's for you, Gray Owl.
Gray Owl, we can never forget Gray Owl. Gray Owl is
Gray Owl, baby.
Mr. Gray Owl.
He is a legend.
He's a legend. I mean, he's in contact with us all the time.
Fighting, man.
Mr. Gray Owl always has some fun stuff for us.
He's the best, man.
Well, I want to say thank you very much, Scott, for joining me. I think this was a great day. It's a great time, and I'm very excited. I'm excited for the UFO community. That's what I'm excited for the most right now. I feel like, you know, I probably going to get done this, and there'll be tears in my eyes for it because we have the evidence now. Everybody should be happy, and it's great.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what people have to say, and I know it's not all going to be. Not everybody's going to be happy about it. But I am interested to hear all the comments, and you know, feel free. Now, I'm probably going to post this on. I'm probably actually going to have Jim on my show in a day or so. It's a little bit too late tonight. I'm all tired for us to do my show tonight, but we can do my show where you're going to be a guest on my show. And I would just ask all you people in ET Reality to come on over here to the Crime Scene Time Machine when we release our episode, and we'll pick up the rest of the story. And, you know, we'll keep moving it on from there, man.
I will have the links for your both channels on Spotify and on YouTube in the description for people that are looking for you. So
thanks. Well, it was a great time. Thank you, Jim. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to work with you on this. You're the man. I love your show. Keep doing the great work, brother.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you coming on and ending this debate finally. Thank you. Once and for all, it's all over, folks.
All right.
All right. I want to say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.